Hey everyone, this is Jamie Lieberman. I am the owner and founder of #Legal. We provide full service legal services, and I am so excited today because I am here with my very good friend and my client, Allie Craig. Allie is an author. She has a newly published book called Success Rebel, which is, I've read it, it's incredible. I am so excited for her to share some of her insights from that. Allie is a branding expert and she is like a media powerhouse. I can't even, she has a television network, the Notoriety Network. She has a production company. She's the host of television shows. She produces television shows. She has magazines. Allie is everywhere and she is so brilliant and she has so many years of experience in the branding and marketing worlds that I am thrilled to bring this exclusive masterclass directly to you with some of her best insights. So Allie, thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Jamie. I love you right back at you, girl. And I love that we are talking to fellow creators. You know, a lot of people nowadays, I think there's a big difference between being creative and being a creator. Being creative to me is, a paint by numbers set. Anyone can follow those directions and be relatively successful at it. But creators, who tend to be your audience and tend to be my audience as well when it comes to the show, when it comes to branding, is that we are the ones who see the rock and then can sculpt from the rock. Like they're the ones who are really inventing in whatever medium that is, if that's intellectual property, if that's tech, if that's art, if that's design, if that's whatever it is, they're the ones who are really birthing it out and out of the vision. And the truth is that goes hand in hand with my latest book, which is called Success Rebel, How to Be Successful and Sought After Without Selling Your Soul. Because a lot of creators want to use what we call as their soul fire, so that real purpose, so that kind of creative brilliance that they have inside of them, that they've always had inside of them, they want to use it as a business. And in 22 years of working with thousands of brands from around the world, I honestly think it's the smartest play to build your brand on. Because no matter what happens in the world, no matter what changes, how you change, your life changes, building your business and your brand on that creator instinct will always have you being successful and will always have your audience understanding who and what you are, no matter what the evolution is. So if today it's a product and tomorrow it's intellectual property, or the next day it's an app, it's technology, your audience, you're never rebuilding them. You're always growing from them. But here's the thing, and I know you've seen it. When it comes to the creator entrepreneur, the biggest struggle is that most of us think we're stupid in business. Most of us have this social story, and it totally is a social story, that if you're really creative, you tend to not be so business smart, or you don't get numbers, or you don't know how to have relationships, or all of that. And then we see in modern day business with social media being so, prevalent, like, how can I do that? Because I don't want to be a social butterfly, or I don't know, I wasn't good at math, or I didn't take business, and so there's a struggle that happened. And so the thing about social stories, and the thing about why it's so detrimental to really being a successful success rebel or a successful entrepreneur, is that they infect our mind so much. The truth is that the social stories that are out there, we've had since before we were born. We were literally being told them in our mother's wombs when it comes to the fairy tales that we were told. And we're constantly getting bombarded with this information. And I like to say it either infects, affects, or effects you. It's going, and you don't know how until you're in that moment. Until you're in that moment talking to the client trying to close the deal, and all of a sudden you cut your fee out of nowhere, and you even shock yourself saying, why the hell did I just drop my money? Or a client doesn't want to, sign a contract, and so you think, well, maybe my contract's wrong, maybe I shouldn't. We have all these questions, and all this self-doubt shows up, and that tends to be a social story that's at hand. And the truth is that though these social stories have been with us for our lifetime and generationally, they don't have to constantly stay with us. We can actually change these social stories that are inhibiting our success and our ability to step into being a successful creator entrepreneur and own our creator brilliance and also own our business brilliance at the same time. We don't have to choose one or the other. And that's really a common social story that a lot of people have now, is that, okay, I can be this amazing creative genius and have amazing stuff. Well, what's the social story that goes with it? You're going to be poor because the artist is always a starving artist. They're never a successful artist. You're not going to be well liked because what? Van Gogh went mad and cut off his own ear. So you're going to have this idea, this madness and everything that's going to happen. Or you're going to set that aside and you're going to be a successful business person. So you're going to educate yourself, and it's smart to educate yourself. But if you're smart, that's logic, and you're going to do what makes best sense logically, not what your creator instinct says. So you feel like you have this, juxtaposition happening, these opposing forces happening, and it doesn't have to be the case when you understand the social stories that are at play in your brain and kind of messing with your brain when it comes to up-leveling your business as a creator and up-leveling and stepping into your success rebel life. So how in the world do you fix that? Because you know me, I'm all about action. This book is all about action. So here's how you can fix that. Actually, relatively simple. The social stories that are affecting you, if you're thinking, I don't really know what that could be, just go Netflix binge. The time that you were between 16 to 21 is the time that society most influenced you. So if you don't know what social stories are affecting you about what it means to be successful in business, just go Netflix binge. What were the most popular TVs and movies in that era about what you're doing now? And if it didn't exist, like a lot of online Instagram influencers didn't exist, that tells you the true social story right there that you're struggling with. Because in your mind and in your subconscious mind, your industry shouldn't exist. So that means what you have today could go away instantly. And the problem, the blessing and curse about our subconscious mind is it will create whatever in the world is in there. So if your subconscious mind says you can't be successful because it's creative, because starving artist syndrome happening, guess what? That's exactly what you're going to be manifesting. No matter how hard you work, no matter how much you put into it, no matter how many contracts you put into play, no matter how, smart business-wise, because your subconscious mind thinks that that's what you want. You have an old social story about that. How do you get rid of the social stories? Well, first off, acknowledging them is key, because when you can actually acknowledge them, you have a great 10-minute window. First off, when you acknowledge them, you can actually be aware of them when they happen. And when they're aware, they actually become top of mind. So all of a sudden you're thinking about, oh my gosh, I don't know how I can do this. Those panic moments we all have. That is a social story coming up. You have 10 minutes in that time frame to rewrite it. And I mean literally. So stop whatever you're doing and pause and just get your journal out, or do visualization work and see yourself being the success, or write it out, write the story that's tripping you up, so the anxiety that's stressing you out, and then take a red marker through it. And yes, it has to be red, because that is also a programming we all have from elementary school. Red marker, and run it all through it and rewrite on top of that the story that you want to have. It sounds ridiculously simple, but here's the thing. Our subconscious mind can be our best friend when we choose to use it to our advantage and we choose to rewrite our social stories. Our subconscious mind does not know the difference between reality and fantasy. So when we're rewriting it or we're visualizing it again, it thinks it's reality. And because we had this old story, we're rewriting it. The next time that situation comes along, you're not going to react the same old way. You're going to start reacting the new way that you just reprogrammed yourself for. You do this continually enough and it becomes a habit. And as soon as it becomes a habit, your subconscious mind is super happy, because that's how we run. We live most of our life through just subconscious programming. We don't live in the conscious realm. That's how we end up driving somewhere. All of a sudden we're at the gym and we're like, I don't even remember driving to the gym this morning. It's because our subconscious programming is taking effect, because that's how our bodies tend to work, because we're always waiting for the next fight or flight to happen. So if you can create positive habits that support you through your social stories, game changer. Game changer on you being a successful business owner and still staying creative, so that you don't have to have this juxtaposition, you can have this harmony. Now, there's other really simple things you can do to really empower yourself to be that success level and to actually, be a smart business owner and still be creative. Most creative people, we're visual people. So the space that you hold is so utterly important. also what you wear is so utterly important, because the really great thing about our brains is that they have not evolved in over 20,000 years and most likely will not be evolving in our lifetimes. So let's use our biology to our advantage. And so by having a beautiful space around us, it naturally makes you feel happier, more endorphins. Having green around you, or having, to be able to look out your window and see green. So if it's grass or just the color green, will naturally make you more creative. I even had, for some of my clients, those puppy pads that you can get, they're like pads of grass that you can buy for your puppy. Put them in your office, put your feet on them if you sit at your desk barefoot, and then that way you have the grass, you have the groundiness of nature. It helps stimulate your natural creativity just by using your biology and your natural hormones and chemistry to your advantage. And then style, honestly, staying at home and staying in your PJs, worst thing ever. When the 1970s came around and made business casual, stupid, stupid, stupid from a human biological standpoint, because our body, we get to recognize clothes with habits. So your PJs, your brain knows as go to bed. So then therefore we have a restful night's sleep. That's what the expectation is. So when you wear your PJs and you're trying to be a powerful business person, you're not going to feel it, you're not going to look it, and your mind is actually going to have a hard time getting there mentally, because it thinks, shouldn't I be going sleepy now? And then reverse is when you're trying to go to sleep and you're like, why is my brain on? You totally confused your body. So by using your style to be, this is my business attire, even if it's just wearing all black or you're wearing black sweats, whatever it is, whatever business is to you, you're actually able to allow your brain to say, I'm going to be in powerful business mode. And what I found for a lot of my creator entrepreneurs is we have kind of their create clothes, where it's, I'm designing, I'm, birthing. That's a different style than their power business clothes, because there's social stories to them of what being a powerful business person looks like and feels like. So, me, I love my high heels, because for me, that is one thing that says what's a powerful businesswoman. She has some really killer high heels on. And so anytime I'm in any type of business negotiation, dealing with numbers, dealing with client contracts, even if I'm doing a Zoom meeting, I have my heels on, because it's a social story that empowers me. It's a mental cue to my subconscious mind to say, I need to be smart with my business decisions. And it's a simple way that we all can do. It's whatever it is for you. For some people, it's guys wearing ties, or a guy wearing a blazer. For some women, it's certain necklaces, like a pearl necklace to them is their thing. Whatever it is, use your style instinctually and purposefully, and it will help you overcome these social stories about that a creator business owner can't be creative and be successful in business at the same time. Lastly, relationships are so key. Human beings are hardwired for relationships. That's why I'm so obsessed with neurohuman branding, because it's all about building relationships. And in the end, no matter what you sell, you're selling it to another human being. And so we have to be very good at relationships. The problem is most of us as creators struggle with the story of, oh, we're misunderstood. We don't get, the rest of the society doesn't understand us. And that could be true. A lot of creators tend to be more introverted and a little bit loner. They don't need to have the whole crowd around them, and that's fine. But it's about understanding how to create relationships that fulfill you and fulfill the other party. So overcoming some of these stupid social stories we have around what social networking looks like and what business relationships look like. The idea that business and personal life are separate. I think we've all realized, especially post-COVID-19 pandemic, that they all kind of blend, and we can actually use this time of where we're changing business and changing what looks like business on such a radical level to our advantage by rewriting and consciously rewriting those social stories. Is how do I want this relationship to be? Because here's the thing, relationships are always going to be in play. It will always be who you know. And not to say that in a negative way of who you know to step up on the ladder, but who you know when it comes to the resources you need in life and what you're meant to create. That's one of the greatest struggles with creators is our resources are no longer painting the 16th chapel or having, blocks of stone. We don't have benefactors anymore. And so having the right relationship means that we can have the right connection to maybe a corporate account or to the right person to support us when it comes to building the right business contract or the right networking event. That's how we do life. And when we understand that the corporate structure of business that many of us have been taught is the successful way of being will never be, it will never work for us. We have to be able to surrender that and rewrite what works for us. And I do mean that on many levels, literally. And so that's what we talk all about in Success Rebel, because it's about owning the life you want, not the life that someone else wants. Not to say, oh, I want to be a millionaire. Why a millionaire? Why not a millionaire plus one? So you have to understand what it is that you really want. That's what we help you uncover in this book. And more importantly, that's what we help you guide through, because at the end of every single chapter, as you well know, I'm all about the action. So it says there's learn. So if you need to learn more, here's what you need to learn about it. If you need to do and take action, you're empowered to do. What you need to believe, because mindset is so important. These social stories are all infected in your brain, and you have to choose what you're taking out and what you're replacing it with. What do you want to become? And then, of course, how do you want to connect? Because relationships are so important. The truth is you can actually be a creator, business owner who is radically successful and radically creative at the same time. It isn't a juxtaposition, but you have to rewrite your social stories to prove it to yourself and the world.
You literally speak my language, because I felt like when I was reading it, you were writing to me, right? Because I'm a lawyer and my stories are that you have to wear a black suit and that you cannot be interesting and you cannot be creative. And there's one way to practice law and you have to do it that way. And to overcome that and to start my own firm that looked completely different than what anyone else was creating I'm told I'm not supposed to be creative. So I'm told I can only be a business person.
Well, and you're told also that doing it the way you've done it and proven with #legal is a successful format is radically impossible based on the traditional social stories that you were raised with.
Yeah, and told it's wrong.
Yeah. And until you either show it to yourself or show it to your subconscious mind by doing the visioning work or rewriting the story or just being aware of it, you're always going to be led, and I mean literally dragged, by that old social story, even though in your heart there is another way. And it's just like that push me pull you from Dr. Dolittle, where it's like you're never going to go anywhere when you're at that opposing. So it's like, just get rid of the social story and then actually do what you know your heart's desire is.
It's so true, because really it is the only thing that holds most people back. I mean, listen, there are some people where it's just never going to happen no matter what. But for the most part, the most successful people that I see and that I work with and that I meet, the thing that holds them back is exactly what you're talking about. There is a preconceived notion, a social story. I love that phrase that you use, that makes them pause or think they can't do something. And
some come from movies and TVs, some come from your mama, some come from your boo, some come from your best friend, some come from your society you grew up in, come from all areas, and some are meant for good originally, and they were helpful in the moment, but we've all grown and evolved. So the story that was helpful when we were 5 years old and we're trying to, have our lemonade stand isn't necessarily the best business advice to try to be running and building an empire off of today,
Exactly. And I love your actionable tips. I mean, that's huge to me, because while I do subscribe to the theories that you're talking about, I'm often like, okay, well, now what? Like, what do I do? How do I deal with this? Your red marker trick. So
it's the simplest trick. It works though. That's the thing. Like everyone okay, this has to be radically hard. I'm going to need decades of therapy to overcome the social stories that I've had for my lifetime. And the truth is, you really don't have to. Is it like the idea of an onion where there's layers? Of course, there's always new ones popping up, but there's easy tools that you can do anywhere that you're at. You can empower yourself to do them, as a consistent routine or just when they show up, and just still be making progress in the direction that you want to be going in. And that's so key. You want to be going in. whatever that is. Like when I work with brands, I'm like, if you want your brand to just only make $100,000 and that to you is successful, God bless you, we can do it.
Yes.
Brand to be multi-millionaire across the international, multi-everything, thousands of employees, great, we can do that. We just need to know the reality of what that is from the beginning, because the structure and the base amount of work is really the same. It's the longevity that's going to get you to your goal. Of course, you're going to hit 100,000 faster than you're going to hit multi-millions, but they're all possible and all doable.
And I love that, because it really should be about what you want. It shouldn't be about what he wants or she wants or who you consider a competitor to want. Like, stay in your lane.
Your competitors. Never look at your competitors.
Thank you.
The idea, when we were talking about building brands, the idea of niches and doing competitor industry research is the most moronic thing ever, because it's human nature to mimic other people. And so when you do that research, you subconsciously are going to naturally, intuitively mimic what they've done, even if you hate it. And so your languaging, your tone, your visuals are going to go that way, and you just vanilla-ize yourself. I'll make up that word right now.
Yeah.
And it's like you lost what made you so brilliant, because it's your unique perspective. That I would say the wisdom is, the wealth is in your wisdom and your weird, basically. Those are all going together. And so your weird, the things that like you keep in your head that you're like, I'm just not going to say that way because I'm going to be judged. That's the shit you should be saying out loud, because that's what's going to attract your audience. That's what's going to keep you interesting, and it's going to make you feel empowered too, because we all naturally want to be loved. It's human nature. It's human psychology. It's one of our main human psychology needs. So no matter when you were born or where you were born, love is unconditional love, or just being a soul on this earth, is something we all want. And so when you're brave enough, and that's what to me is true vulnerability versus this buzz we all hear about what vulnerability is nowadays. When you are willing to share that rawness of how you uniquely see the world, how you uniquely express the world, you're going to find that love back to you, because you're going to find the right people. Are you going to find people who don't get you? Yeah, but you're always going to find those people.
Yeah, I think it's a gift when you find those people, both ways, right? Because then you're able to be like, yeah, this is not a fit, and that's okay. And I love that. I need wealth is in the wisdom and the weird. I need it like on a shirt, and I need to do a photo shoot in it.
I will totally make that happen for you.
That's amazing, because I say that all the time when I talk to clients who are like focused on competitors and they're so upset about this and that. I was like, be you, man. Just drive in your lane. Don't worry about who's on the left and the right. If you never switch the lane, doesn't matter where they are. They could be behind, they could be in front.
And it doesn't have to be this idea, this one horse. Well, everyone's doing it this way. 9 times out of 10, the brands I work with, I'm like, forget that mentality. You are not a one-horse rider. You are a chariot driver.
Yes.
It's the smartest use of your business and your creativity, because a lot of creators, we're so scared to niche ourselves into just doing this one thing. And it's like, no, you can do multiple things and still build your brand, not create brand confusion, not do all these things that people are terrifying you into, destroying yourself. And you just have to know what game you're playing, and the fact that you are not playing the one horse game. Yes. You're playing a chariot driver game.
That's right.
To that.
And there's always a thread. Like, I can use #legal as an example. I may represent a tech company and I may represent a photographer. There is a thread that binds those companies. There are similarities in my work with those clients. Mm-hmm. Maybe slightly different language, but at the end of the day, their needs are actually quite similar in a weird way. And so as long as there's a thread and you understand that thread and you focus on that, whether it's continuing to narrow and turn down things because, it doesn't fit with this plan I've created, is crazy. Like, the best decisions I ever made was when someone's like, hey, you want to do this? And I'm like, yeah, let's try it.
Because the thing is that everything you do, if we're talking about #legal, we talk about your podcast, we talk about your speaking work, it's all connected to your greater soul fire. And in your soul fire, you have this badassness of kind of being the rebel, but doing it in a way that's really smart and elevated. And so there's this creativity in it. So even though you chose law as the profession to currently model that through, that comes out through all your work, and every single person, every podcast I've listened to, and every speaking engagement I've ever seen you at, it's always been the creators who are also the black sheep badasses, who are also trying to rebel against the way it's traditionally done within their industries. And so that's the commonality of who loves you, because that also is you. And so no, as long as you stick to that and you don't decide to do a 180 and say, I want to be a traditional corporate lawyer now, you're going to be good with your audience for life. And anyone can do that. Anyone can be that when you own your Success Rebel status, you own what you're really about, and you are unapologetic about it. That's where you have to stay key. And that's one reason why style, though the most seemingly vain thing to ever mention
Matters.
or what you wear, is a great way for anybody to stay grounded in their creator force and still own their business strength as well.
I 100% subscribe to that. And I think it's so important. And I love, one, thank you, but I love all the things that you've said. And I think that's why looking at competitors, it doesn't matter, because what you have to do is dig deep and know who you are. And that comes with experience and time. And so make the mistakes, do the crazy things, like go down the wrong path, because you will. Like it wasn't a straight line. Like we veered off.
Life is not a straight line, and this is all a relationship, and it's all personal evolution. That is the one thing no one is truly taught the depth of in the entrepreneurial spectrum overall, is to realize that your success is based off of your personal development.
Yes. Oh my God.
And if you don't understand yourself, because if you don't understand yourself, you can't have a relationship with yourself, because then you can't have a relationship with everyone else. And this is all a relationship, and you're just using your brand or your business, your creative venue, as the reason why we're starting the relationship. That's all.
I can't agree more. Everybody needs your book, so please tell them where they can find it.
So of course you can get Success Rebel, How to Be Successful and Sought After Without Selling Your Soul, on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, all those outlets. But if you want to support your local business or your local bookstores, all you have to do is call them and ask for them to order you a copy of Success Rebel by Allie Craig. Came out on April 7th, and they can order it and drop ship it to you, and it supports your local bookstore. So it's like a win and a win.
Yay, I love that. Thank you, Allie. I appreciate it. This was amazing and so helpful.
Well, thank you, Jamie. I love chatting with you. We can talk always about business. I love your audience, because, I'm one of your audience.